Welcome to Count Me In. In this exciting episode, we're joined by Nicolas Boucher, founder of the AI Finance Club and an expert in integrating artificial intelligence into finance. We'll dive into how AI is reshaping financial services, from enhancing client experience to improving risk management. Nicolas offers insider tips on how professionals can upskill and leverage AI to stay competitive. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable insights into the future of finance with AI. Let's get started with the conversation with Nicolas right here on Count Me In. Well, Nicolas, I'm so excited to have you on the Count Me In podcast as we're going to talk about AI and its a connection to finance. And I figured we could start off the conversation by talking a little bit about what you've seen, how AI is being leveraged to innovate in the finance sector, and what impact has it had on the services and the customers that you work with.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. It's a great question because everybody wants to know what they don't know. Everybody wants to know, I was giving a training today, are other finance team more in advance than my team or not? And what is interesting, in each of the team, the level of understanding of AI is already different. So it's first to respond to this question, I would say it would be really good that in each of the team, people get the same level of understanding. Mm-hmm. And for this, people can talk about it, can get classes. But I would say the first thing that changed since 1 year is the fact that now AI is democratized. Because we got the chance to talk to AI with our own words using a chatbot. And because we can now talk to AI with our own word, and then AI with the use of this chat can translate that, talk to his model, and then reply us back, everybody knows now that we can do something with it. Now, because of this, you can get a lot of knowledge that you didn't get before. You can get a lot of help on everything we do that is, I would say, white collar work. So everything about writing, everything about also solving problems, like having a framework to solve problems. So this is what you can do today without no implementation of tools. You can get AI to help you do your work better. Then I would say the second level, and that we can talk about it after, it's when you are going ready to implement AI also in the current tool you are using. ERP, your BI tool, also your data. So how you can make AI have access to your data to get answers and insights from your data. That's the second level. And there's a lot to say about it, but not a lot of companies are, I would say, so far ahead.
Yeah, a lot of companies aren't far ahead. Like, I feel like everybody's dipping their toe into the water, so to speak, and they're playing with it, but not everybody's quite there yet because there's a lot of predictive capabilities. There's a lot of things that you can do with AI, as you mentioned already, with the data and stuff like that. And how can AI be used to kind of help with like things like risk management and stuff like that? Because I feel like, when you're introducing this new machine, this new learning tool into your system with your data and stuff like that, there's a whole nother risk component that's involved there.
Yeah, so if we separate, I would say, like how it can help with risk management and what are the risks, that for me, those are two questions.
Of course.
For risk management, what you can do is AI, and not only generative AI, so not just producing text, but let's say machine learning is really good at processing a lot of data and using this power to identify outliers, trends, where a human cannot see that because it's too much for the human. So if you take human that can help the model and explain what is a risk. So if we talk about KYC or fraud in banking, for example, and this is already exists since long time, is how you analyze a lot of amount of data and identify some outliers. And then from these outliers, do an assessment on what is the risk. Is there a 99% risk that it's a fraud, or is it a 10%? And out of that, either you will let the judgment to the human. So you will simplify the work that the human only spend time on everything above 90% of risk, rather than doing all of the processing of the data to know, okay, if I have a lot of data, then I need to process it. And then finally, after the processing, I will only look at what are my outliers. So all of this part you can delegate to machine learning. And also with machine learning, what you can do, if you don't know the rules about what is a problem in my company, you can just feed all of the transactions where you had problems, and the model will recognize patterns. So, like each time we paid twice is when the supplier name was really similar, but not exactly the same, where it was a receipt. And then, like from a restaurant, you can get two types of receipt.
Mm-hmm.
So it will identify like a lot of patterns where if they are combined, you will get a high chance that there is a risk. And that's where us as human, we might not know that, or we might not identify that because we cannot process as much. And then like on the second question on the risks, a lot of risk is that for a lot of people, it becomes a black box. And so if it's a black box, then you cannot delegate the responsibility to a machine if you don't understand it. Like you will not delegate to a partner, to a provider, some risk if you don't understand how they work. So this is where you need to understand how the model works. And we all need to upskill ourselves on the capabilities, the models. And I see a lot of people are learning really fast, and they understand what is possible to do and what is not possible to do.
They really are. And I feel like you're either in the boat of I'm jumping in with both feet and trying this out a lot and I'm upskilling to be better, or you're like, I don't want to touch this at all. There's too many risks involved. I don't want any of my personal data and all those things. How do you kind of bridge that gap? Because I feel like people are in either boat and they're either not touching it at all or they're jumping in with both feet. How do you kind of bridge the gap between the people to make sure that your whole team or the people that you're working with are really getting up to speed?
It's a good question. What I usually use is an analogy with Excel. Imagine maybe like when Excel arrived, it arrived the same day I was born almost. So it arrived like 39 years ago in 85. I'm sure a lot of accountants were skeptical if when you use the formula sum above and you take like 100 cell, I'm sure a lot of accountants were doing with their own calculator by themselves, verifying, well, is Excel really calculating the 100 cells like it should do? And we know that actually after the time that Excel can do calculation of 100 cells and you will always get a correct answer. But now, Adam, let's imagine you go to your boss and you say, okay, that's the sum of the 100 lines. And your boss look at you and say, that's not correct. And then are you going to say, oh, but it's not me, it's Excel, which is wrong? No, maybe you did the mistake that in your formula you forgot one cell. Maybe there was a hidden line, because we all know this problem with Excel that some hidden lines can really make a problem in our calculations. And actually, Excel was not the problem. Your utilization of Excel was the problem. And your boss will not blame Excel, will not also allow you to blame Excel, will tell you you are responsible for your work. So then you have two paths. Are you going to still work with paper and do calculations yourself, and then all of your colleagues are going to use Excel? Or are you going to use Excel, but carefully, always verifying that the content makes sense, the formula makes sense, the sum makes sense? So I will suggest that you choose the second path. And with AI, it's the same. You need to be aware of how the tool works. You need to verify and you need to own it. And there is a lot of way that you can use it without having to give any personal data, any confidential data. And if you want to work with confidential data, then there are also more and more tools that allow that. Like I'm not affiliated with Microsoft, but they have Azure, where it's a cloud solution and it works like all of the cloud tool you use for work. And if your company sign with them, you can put data inside. If you have the agreement from your company and a clear understanding from the company of what is possible to do or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's really understanding how to utilize the tools. I really love your analogy that you made with the Excel, because if you forgot a cell, if you're something like that, you're never going to blame Excel. It's going to become on you. So it's up to you to kind of get to that place. So upskilling is very important as we move forward in this new realm of AI, because machine learning has been around for a long time. This technology has been around, but it's now more accessible than ever.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's really scaring everybody, is that it's accessible to everybody.
Exactly. And to continue the analogy, for me, there will be three types of people that are using or not using AI. There will be first the people who don't use it. And then they will have a problem in terms of competitivity against people who use it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the second type of people. They will use it, but they will be really lazy and use it the wrong way and will just do copy and paste and not review. First, this could be replaced really soon by agent that can do this connection between the AI and your own tool. And second, you put yourself so much at risk if you don't review the work. And then there will be the third type of people, the people that understand what you can do with it, that will use their knowledge of the company, their industry, the topic. If you know well accounting, or if you are a really good FP&A manager, well, you know where to go if you want to analyze the revenue evolution of your company. And you will get AI to help you to be faster and better at doing it. And then in comparison with everybody else, you will provide more value, you will do your work faster, and you'll be ahead against all of the others who don't use it or use it the wrong way.
Yeah. So I think one thing that we if we're talking about AI, we have to kind of talk about the whole personalization aspect, that ability to personalize things for your customers, for customer experiences, and really showing that success at the customer facing. Because we've been really discussing how you use it on your own tools and stuff like that. But when we're talking about, personalization, for working with tools for your customers, what are some of the best ways that you've seen people that you've worked with in your organization and how your clients have kind of used AI to help personalize their customer experiences in a good way?
So if are you talking about we can talk about if we are talking about finance teams, their own customer are more I would say the internal customers.
Sure.
And I have a good example of OpenAI. I talked with the manager of OpenAI. We gave a webinar together. And so this finance manager explained me how much work they have because the company is growing so fast. They are hiring so many people. And like in a lot of companies, people go to finance and they have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What can I expense? How do I book this invoice? All of the questions you can imagine that can come to finance. And so what they did, because they cannot cope with the work because so much demand, they use technology and they use their own technology to create a chatbot. And this chatbot is using the finance policies to reply to all of their internal customers. And they are kind of the first, I will say, a first shield to answer questions. And they're also available 24-hour, 7 days a week. So it helps also the internal customer to get a response really fast and to treat most of the questions. And if it's not enough, then people know they can still talk to humans. But like this, both parties, the finance department and the other departments, they get value from it. And this is something you see everywhere when you are talking about customer support and sales. AI knows how to answer based on some knowledge that you fed to it. And that's where it can gain a lot of value. So I would say this is one example. Second one, you have also in insurance or in banking, all of the credit scoring could be assisted with AI to make it faster as well. Those are, and it's not new, this is assisted. And so like this, you don't need a team of credit scorers. You have the machine who is doing most of the work. And like these clients can get their credit scoring much faster.
I think one thing that I've found as you were talking about that, the importance of feeding in the good data into your, whether it's a chatbot, whether it's something that's analyzing, and how important it is to have good data as opposed to, the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. You need to make sure that you're feeding the proper data into your tool, whether it's for a chatbot to give answers to your customers, or it's something assessing your risk. You have to make sure all your data is right. And so how important it is to get your data in order before you start implementing these AI tools.
Yeah, so the quality of data is becoming even more important if you want to have best insights.
Yeah.
But the good news is it's becoming easier to do it because for example, if you use a combination of ChatGPT and Python, you can really quickly, you go into ChatGPT and you explain what is your problem. Or I have a list of 100,000 lines. And sometimes I have duplicates for my supplier name, or my supplier is twice there, or 3 times, or 4 times, because we have history. And so you can ask, how can I solve that? And if you are not good at Excel, and you don't know where to start, you can ask ChatGPT, how can I do it in Excel? If you have a lot of data, you can even ask, how can I do that in Python? Because it's faster and you can process more. And then it will give you data science techniques to clean the data really fast. It will tell you, okay, this is how you identify duplicates. This is how you can code a code that will remove all of the duplicates, put them in a second sheet to allow you to choose which one you should choose, which line. And really, really fast, like in a matter of 15 minutes, you can get a database clean on one topic. You cannot like clean all of the topics, but you can, like, if your problem is I have duplicate in suppliers, you can get a code that will notify all of these duplicates and then will let you, okay, suggestions as well on which one to keep and which one to remove. And like this, us as human, we only spend time on reviewing and not on doing the work like manually and trying to document it. No, everything is already there for us. And once you have done that, then you can get clean data and work much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that because it's interesting because in back before we had all access to all these technologies, it was a lot more difficult to clean up your data. But there's an example you gave, you're using the AI to help you have the tools because it really shows how important these AI tools are in your toolbox for your daily job.
Yeah. And a lot of people will tell, yeah, but how can I do it? You should not upload your confidential data in a tool where it's open. Totally agree. And I also always say that in my trainings.
Yeah.
But the method that I teach is you just need to explain anonymously, saying, okay, look, I have a column showing supplier names. And you just show some examples of lines that are fake. And then you show how your data is structured and you explain what is your problem. And then you ask, okay, in my own environment, in Excel or in Python, how can I do it to do the work within my own environment? And we teach that in one of our course for people who never use Python. At the end, they know how to use Python for this type of topics. And it's crazy to see finance people who never thought they would use Python in their life, now like just being really excited to see everything they can do between automation, visualizations, deep analysis, because you can use formulas that are not in Excel. You can use them in Python because Python is much more complete in terms and more deep in terms of mathematical calculations.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And also, you don't also have to become a complete expert in Python.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can know just aspects of it to help better your job. And I think that's something that can be overwhelming for people as they learn new technologies. They're like, oh, I have to become a complete expert. No, you just know just enough to do what you need to do. You don't have to know the whole thing. And I think that's more freeing for people when they realize, oh, I don't have to learn everything.
Yeah, what you need to learn is how to ask the right question.
Yes.
And we are always talking with my wife about that. All the time we see new topics, new problems. When you know how to ask the right questions, you move faster, you adopt changes faster, you understand topics faster. And whatever you have in front of you, if you know how to ask the right questions, you can move.
So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that. How do you start asking the right questions? Maybe are there some tips that you can give for people asking the right questions?
So first, you need to understand what in front of you. How do they deal with questions? So usually in front of a computer, it was really binary. You needed to enter exactly what the computer expected. So if you are in SAP, you need to know in all of the user interface, you need to know exactly what is the code you need to enter and which filter to get data. Now it became with Google, for example, really interesting that you could just put keywords and get a feedback on what is on internet. And I will just search, let's say I have a problem on how to collect cash. I will just say cash collection problem. And then I will get like a lot of knowledge on cash collection problem. But now you don't have in front of you a search engine. What you have in front of you is a model that can generate answers. And then you need to consider that is like an assistant or a teammate. And a teammate, you cannot talk to a teammate like you talk to Google. You cannot like, Adam, if we work together and I ask you in our chat, I just tell you cash collection problem, you will just reply with a big interrogation mark, like, what do you want? Like, what should I do with what? And with generative AI is the same. If you put keywords, you will get really like broad answers that will not bring you further.
Yeah.
But then what you should do then is, okay, because the model in front of me knows a lot about the topic.
Yeah.
I need to explain what I need from the model. So I will give context. I will say, oh, I work for a manufacturing company. I am the CFO. We need to solve our cash collection program. Can you propose an action plan? And now you get really something concrete. And what you will get is actually an outline of action plan. And there, a lot of people, they will stop again because they say, okay, that's fun. I have a list of topics, nothing really new because I'm CFO, I'm experienced. So everything that I see here, like deal with inventory, payment terms, it's something they will not learn much.
Yeah.
But you get that because you are also limited by the model in front of you that can only answer one question at a time by limited characters. So if you know that and you ask, okay, how can I get deeper information from you? Then you will learn that if you ask now in the action plan, action by action, if you go deep, and that's what we call the chain of thoughts in prompt engineering. If you ask, okay, let's imagine I want to improve the payment terms. On this specific action, give me more detailed tasks. And then you drill down this way like 3-4 times, and you arrive to really concrete action plan that you can use and go straight away and talk with your team to work on it. And that's what changed people from just getting a broad answer and thinking that AI is not really useful to people who are already like 10 steps ahead because they already implemented everything were suggested as an action plan.
I think that's a great explanation, especially when it comes to prompt engineering. It's a different way of asking questions. Like you can't put, cat plus field plus, happy person, like you would do in Google back in the days, and you would get these great pictures or things.
Yeah.
You need to get more detailed and say, what type of mindset that you want the thing to have, what you're looking for. And then you can ask more questions to get more into it. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it.
The prompt engineering is really just common sense.
Yeah.
Plus an understanding of how the model works. So if you know, okay, when I ask format and I say format a table, you know that you will always get a table, then you know you need to use these two words together.
Yeah.
And if you know, okay, I want you to speak like a kid, like for the model, it means changing the language form. So you need like to engineer the way you get the output by giving some of the parameters, but you can use your own words. But once you learn that, like, okay, what are the parameters I can use to tweak the output in the way that I will get what I want?
Yeah, exactly. And if you want a good laugh, ask your generative AI engine to say, tell me like a pirate. And it'll be quite amusing to read their response if they do it in the wording of a pirate. Children especially appreciate that one. So if you've never done that, I encourage everybody to try it at least once. As we're looking ahead, talking about AI, are there any emerging technologies or trends that you're seeing that you're kind of excited about that you're saying, hey, this is going to really shape how we go into the future?
Yeah, the first one is the low-code AI. So low-code AI, you can have it, for example, in Azure Cognitive Services. So it's from Microsoft, is mini module that are already coded to help you. For example, one of them is the recognition of invoices. So like they read PDF and they will give you in an Excel table what is inside the invoice. And this is already parameter that you just need to connect where are the PDFs. So is it in a folder or are they like coming from some automation from emails? And then where should you save that? In which Excel table? And then you can choose if it's an invoice or if those are receipts, because we know it's not the same, or is it maybe purchase orders, etc., or maybe a legal document. And so those exist already in the Microsoft environment, and it will help a lot of teams that maybe don't have the budget to have people that build a model for them, or don't have the budget to install new tools. If they have this in the Microsoft environment, they will use the power of AI, which recognizes the invoice thanks to image recognition, which recognizes the word thanks to the NLP, so natural language processing. And then it will transfer this information in an Excel table that you can use after to make your accounting entries or to make some analysis or just maybe to save the information if you're somebody who wants to have it somewhere saved and easier to use than just scrolling through hundreds of PDFs.
That sounds like a really exciting tool. I'm excited to get my hands on that as well. That's really, I think the more tools, like you said, the low code things, the more little things that organizations do, that software companies do, I think the more that people are going to really accept it and really start to use it in a better way. Before we ended, I just wanted to give you an opportunity maybe to talk a little bit about your AI Finance Club. I think it's a really cool venture that you're doing, and I figured give it an opportunity for you to talk a little bit about it for our audience.
Yeah, well, it's actually interesting. In 1 hour or two, we have our monthly masterclass. And just to give an example, there'll be a person who implemented, so Azure, what I just talked about, he implemented that already like 50 or 100 times at some clients. And he's going to teach us everything about it. And like this, all of the members of the AI Finance Club will learn how Azure work, how cognitive services work, how it can help them. And my goal by doing that is, instead of everybody on their own trying to figure out how to use AI for finance, is to bring all of the motivated and people that are convinced that AI is going to help them and help their finance team, that we all are together to learn together and to combine our efforts. And basically, me and my team of experts, we do all of the hard work. We research and read every day. We then synthesize that and we make it in an easy way to learn. And we have masterclass. We have video courses every month. We are digesting all of the news, because every day there is AI news and it's really hard to keep up with everything. And at the end of the month, I send a summary of the 5 most important news that are relevant for finance, because not everything is relevant for finance. And I really show what is relevant for finance. And we also show what are the best AI tools to use and where. And every month we go through one finance process. And on this process, we show how you can use AI. So we did it, for example, on revenue forecasting. How can you use AI to help you forecast revenue? And so people can join. And the goal is really to do the work for everybody, so that for them, they can take it, go with their team, and implement everything they learn with us, and then just elevate their AI maturity in their own organization.
That's great. So I encourage everybody to click the link in the show notes to check out the AI Finance Club or connect with Nicolas on LinkedIn. Nicolas, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I think what you are doing is good, because again, not everybody has the time to figure out where is the best information to learn about everything that is happening in the world of finance. And by doing that, you help all of the finance people that are listening. So thank you, Adam, for doing this.
This has been Count Me In, IMA's podcast, providing you with the latest perspectives of thought leaders from the accounting and finance profession. If you like what you heard and you'd like to be counted in for more relevant accounting and finance education, visit IMA's website at www.imanet.org.